Dirt track racing, running through my blood every week. I'm broke, but I can't give it up. Play on my boots, engine screaming loud, living for the lap when the green goes down. Packing that track in lap after lap, meeting in the pits, rules laid out flat. Hot laps flying, just setting the tone. Qualify quick or you're headed home. Crew in the trailer, wrenches in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're listening to this episode, as this is the pilot episode podcast for the Koen Micro podcast covering micro sprint racing across the board. Going to try to touch on a lot of them weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, not quite sure exactly how often we'll be putting out episodes, but just basically a recap of feature winners, some great racing action that's gone on, and etc. Maybe some news that has dropped. Not going to be spreading rumors or dropping bombs without those drivers putting out those press releases or news themselves. So we're not going to be breaking news that isn't already out there, but definitely going to be your stop for microsprint news, especially on the West Coast, since we have Fast 4 Media and had some flow coverage in the recent weeks. But we'll kick things off with the Plaza Park opening night. Dalton Pereira picking up the victory in the A-Class, picking up where he left off. That was an action-packed feature. His teammate Carson Myrick, coming out of retirement, was leading early and popped the motor. Then Kinzer Bell, he took the lead and was looking good until he blew a motor on the following caution. And that put Dalton in the catbird seat, and he went on to victory. Easton Wright picked up his first junior sprint victory at the Plaza Park Raceway, the defending Delta Speedway track champion. Then Jet Yanis picking up non-wing. Tice Domingos, his first of the season at the Restricted, but he's already been a feature winner at the Adobe Mountain in February, so his third or fourth victory, if I remember right, in the Restricted class. And then Michael Facino picking up his 22nd career Wing Outlaw victory at the Plaza Park Raceway. Then on the next night was Lemore's opening night, March 14th. Points race number 1, Carson Myrick, Redemption. He picked up the win in the A-Class feature and proceeded to climb the fence like he was Helio Castroneves at the Indy 500. Then in junior sprints, Logan Lavarnway pulled through for his first victory at Lemoore. Maya Malden from 10th to the win in prime fashion, last corner, last lap pass on a green with white checkered finish. Picked up the restricted victory, her first in the division at the Lemoore Jet Bowl. Picked up a victory at Delta Speedway in 2025. And then Jeffrey Paholi, back to his roots, I guess you could say, his winning ways, picking up non-wing in the Driven 14 machine, the 14XL to be exact, his first weekend behind the wheel of that car. And then Jet Yanis winning the Wing Outlaw feature in typical Jet fashion at the Lemoore Jet Bowl. Then we also had Deming Speedway for their opening night. Might be a little ahead of myself, as I believe they started the first week of April. April 3rd. Junior sprint victory was Austin Harris, a familiar name up at the Deming Speedway. Restricted 600 victory went to Hudson Johnson, who's taken the step up into the restricted division at mid last year, I believe, and picking up his first victory in the Doyle Guffey's Rally Auto Sales 600 restricted division. Junior sprints presented by Capstone Plastering this year at the Deming Speedway. 1200s, the Shots to Go Espresso 1200 division. Kyle Mitchell, long-lasting staple driver at the Deming Speedway, picked up the victory in the 1200s. And then the Speedmart 600 division, Levi Hillier, after being hot off of a victory over the winter, I guess you could say, January, February-ish, at an NASCS competition, picked up the victory in the 600s. Once again, Deming Speedway back on board for live streaming on Fast 4 Media. We mentioned the Adobe Mountain. They had some Cactus Region races in February. Gonna kind of touch on those. Quinn Turine picked up a non-wing victory in the now 600 Cactus Region. We had Tice Domingos, mentioned him, picked up a couple of victories in Adobe Mountain during that stint in February. And then Colton Key winning the now 600 Outlaw division. That was a big one, picking up the Dan Steffi Memorial race. In the KKM West Showdown action, they started their season off in February at the Marion County Speedway. The 600 Outlaw Non-Wing Division, Alex Rupert picked up the victory on Saturday night. Noah Carpenter was in second, and then Aiden Turner in third. Preliminary winner was Colton Robinson. He ended up ninth on the finale, piloting a Keith Koen 71 entry. Restricted non-wing. Actually, we'll touch on junior sprint. Stetson Stroop, on a mission, picked up the victory on the second night. The first night went to McKenna Kern. McKenna Kren. Scratch that all together. I got the wrong number 1 car. I was correct. McKenna Kren picked up the victory on the prelim night. Then in our non-wing restricted division, been some action-packed racing for the KKM Challenge Series presented by IBOC. We'll touch on the West Coast, or I guess you could say the California swing, but Maverick Page picked up the victory in the non-wing restricted at Marion County in February. They moved on to Tri-City Speedway, the clash at the Coliseum, if you will, in Koen. Alex Rupert picked up the finale victory. In prime fashion, as I might add, as that was broadcasted on Flow, a photo finish between he and Tate Gurney. Eli Holden was in the mix, and then early on, it was a three-way battle with Charlie Leffler, who ended up spinning in turn 3, bringing his night to a halt. Junior sprints, the Stetson Stroop streak continued, and then Maverick Page picking up another victory in the non-wing restricted division. That led into the KKM West Coast Showdown, ended up being the California swing. Started off in Lemoore Wednesday night show, March 25th. Huxon Roush picked up where he left off last year for Plaza Park's KKM Give Back Challenge Series, as he picked up the victory at Lemoore. Tate Gurney continuing his non-wing restricted contention with a victory in pretty good fashion as well. Held off a lot of our locals. And then Jeffrey Pahuli, in a dramatic non-wing feature, ended up picking up the victory, as Cameron Paul seemed to have it on lock, and then a restart kind of was the demise of his run to pick up a KKM Give Back Challenge Series victory. Got rained out for the Lemoore Jet Bowl Classic April 10th and 11th, so that is pending a potential rain date. We'll keep you updated here. And then on to Plaza Park for the rest of the KKM West Showdown event. 3 nights at Plaza Park this year, March 26th, 27th, and 28th. Lee Uzel picked up the opening night victory in the junior sprints. Jet Yanis picked up the non-wing victory, a pretty exciting feature there. And then Tate Gurney continuing his streak with the non-wing restricted victory on Thursday night. Friday, Tate Gurney also picked up the victory there, setting himself up well, trying to sweep the West Coast swing. And then Stetson Stroop back to victory lane after 2 nights of heartbreaks and picked up the junior sprint victory. And then Jade Avedisian in the Peels number 12 picked up the non-wing victory. Started out front, fell back to 7th, got the top rolling in, and in prime fashion, a battle with Aiden Purdue put her in the victory lane. Final night of the KKM West Showdown Give Back Challenge Series event wrapped up with Stetson Stroop picking up the Saturday night victory for the junior sprint division, paying pretty well, as I might add. $1,500 win for the junior sprints. It was $2,500 win for the non-wing restricted. Brexton Bush, a big battle between him, Maverick Page, Tice Domingos. It was an early contender for race of the year, and was going to be a photo finish. And then Easton Camency getting upside down in the infield, coming to the checkered for the leaders, gave a 1-lap shootout, and Brexton was able to shut down the run in 3 and 4, if you will, on Maverick Page and pick up the victory. But non-wing restricted ripping the top. I gotta say, it's been 13 years since non-wing restricted ran at Plaza Park Raceway, and it didn't disappoint. So go and check out the highlights on Flow Racing. Lots of great racing during the iBox Springs KKM Give Back Challenge Series events for the California swing. So that wrapped up the KKM West Showdown. and got back into points racing the following week, April 4th, the opening night for the Delta Speedway. The A-Class division, Levi Osborne pulled through for his first A-Class victory at the Delta Speedway. Picked up a victory in the junior sprints before, but getting off on the right foot there, and could watch the Fast 4 media highlights and see Steve, his dad, pretty pumped. Love to see that. Then the junior sprints, Lucas Fenn, a couple feature wins last year, getting his season off on the right foot, picked up the win in the junior sprints. Haven Sherman, her first points-paying victory in the restricted division at Delta Speedway, picked up a Speed Week victory last year, and she was pretty pumped as well. The multi-winged outlaw division was probably the most dramatic on the night, as Alex Pinella got out to the front, and then he was battling with Andrew Smith. Alex looked to be sitting good, and then some motor issues on the 12 car halted his night. His brother Nico got out to the front, was looking good, and then he popped the motor, and Andrew Smith fended off the runs of Rayo Salmon and Nate Matherly, as Nate had a right rear, I believe, wheel center or axle, not sure what happened, but right rear sheared off and ended his night of a podium. So that brought Andrew Smith to victory lane, his first Wing Outlaw victory. Has a restricted victory in the past at the Delta Speedway. Final main of the night was the non-wing division, and surprisingly, Colton Keat kept the wings off, and it paid off for him as he catfished his way to the front and picked up the victory at the Delta Speedway, his first non-wing victory at that track. Back to Deming Speedway, got a little ahead of myself for their opening night. It was on the same weekend. We moved to points race number 2, which, surprisingly, all of California got rained out last week. However, Deming was able to pull through, and they got the commentators' curses. They got through 2 features before the rain came, right before the Shots to Go Espresso 1200 main event was on track, and that halted their night. Nonetheless, the capstone plastering junior sprints got underway. Easton Williams picking up the victory, as a couple leaders got tangled up and caused some late race drama, but definitely a great junior sprint feature for the Deming Speedway. And then the second feature that was able to pull through was the Doyle Guffey's Rally Auto Sales 600 restricted division. Logan Williams picking up the victory there, as a stout field in both divisions, having B main events in both. So a full field of A main cars for the juniors and the restricted. A few notables outside of the western United States picking up victories. Aiden Turner picked up a win at Millbridge on Wednesday night. Frank Flood picked up Wing and Wing A-Class at the Port City Raceway. I know one of our locals, Bryson Roush, ended up running second in the Winged A-Class division. Christian Bruno picked up a non-wing win at Clyde Martin Memorial. Tommy Koonsman Jr. back to victory lane in Bridgeport on the quarter mile, running wingless. Cole Tinsley won Wing Outlaw at Doe Run, along with Zane Smith in the Wing Restricted class. Dane Sensel won Wing A-Class at Doe Run. Airport Speedway, Robert Pierce was the wingless victor, and then Chase Bushell winning the non-wing restricted at Airport as well. Millbridge action on a Wednesday night was underway up on the docket, and then this weekend we have Delta Speedway back underway, their points race number 2 on April 18th. Some out-of-country victors. Last weekend was a big weekend for, or make that 2 weeks ago now, in Australia for the Western Australia title defense. Reese Cumming was putting it up on the line, as he was the victor last year. But this year it was held at the Albany Speedway for the WA Championship, and Cody Tarascio has had a solid season, was in contention for the Aussie title at the Borderline Speedway in Mount Gambier, and some contact took him out of the running, but nonetheless, he is the new WA1, picking up the victory at Albany Speedway. Tyler Pignon also picked up the victory for the Junior Formula 500s. They were a support class for the seniors. Luca Bussa picking up a winged main event at the Bussa Bowl, as he's putting on his own raceway down under. And another winner from the PA Wing Outlaw Division, Greenwood Valley Action Track, Cody Hawk picking up the victory there. Cody, a long time driver in the PEA ranks in micros. So picking up where he leaves off there. That'll be a wrap for recaps and updates. If I didn't touch on your racetrack or some state or part of the United States or even down under that had some results, you could email koenshawmedia@gmail.com. We'll be sure to touch on it and add it to the list of events for the podcast. Like I said, this is the pilot episode. Don't know if I'm going to do this weekly, bi-weekly, once a month, just to recap all at once. Just depends how much news is out there. And like I said, just wanted to have a voice out there of micro sprint ranks. Is a lot of podcasts for sprint cars, a lot of podcasts for midgets, not a lot for the micro ranks, and testing the waters here, I guess you could say. But we'll have a few episodes. We'll touch on some tracks. Just want to bring exposure to the micro scene that's already built up momentum. It has been hot. Have Fast Four Media film in the Western United States. We have Flow Racing now picking up some micro races, and then Dirt Vision has been airing a lot with the Millbridge Speedway running weekly, it seems, and sometimes twice a week. So once again, thanks for tuning in. If you have any inquiries, send it to koenshawmedia@gmail.com. I also have Instagram, Facebook, sometimes Twitter. Don't really pay attention to that a whole lot, but definitely let us know you're watching, viewing. It'll be on YouTube, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you.